This video covers how to use the snapshots, copy, and archive features in SnapPlus version 3. Although these features might seem similar on the surface, they have very different intended uses, and this video is intended to clarify the best time to use each one of them. Let's start with snapshots. For example, if I'm about to make some big changes to my plan, I might take a snapshot to confirm that I can go back in case I make any errors when working on updating many different fields. You can take a snapshot by clicking on the New Snapshot button in the upper right-hand corner. This will save a snapshot in the snapshot menu available here in the triangle that has the date and timestamp of when you took the snapshot. Now I can make any updates I need to my plan. Let's imagine that I accidentally delete field 4 and I didn't mean to. I have an opportunity to go back to the snapshot that I took earlier in my session and restore that field and all of the data. To restore to a snapshot, select the correct snapshot from the list. Note that you receive a maximum of 5 snapshots per farm. This is because snapshots are not intended as long-term data storage, but simply as a way to have a working copy of a farm when you're making big changes. When you select a snapshot to restore, you'll get a pop-up message confirming that you want to take this action. Keep in mind that the current version of your plan will be replaced with the version from the snapshot. If you are prepared to revert to a snapshot, click the Revert to Snapshot button. When you do this, SnapPlus will load, and your data will be returned to the state that it was in when you took the snapshot. Notice that field 4 is back. Now let's talk about copying. Copying a farm is available only to users that have the primary admin status. You can check your status by going to the Farm and Farm Permissions tab for a specific farm and finding your email address. Your status will be listed in the Permissions column. I'm the primary admin of this farm, so I have the ability to make a copy of it. Back on the farm page in the Overview tab, you can see I have a Copy Farm button and Delete Farm button. These two buttons are only available to primary admins. When you make a copy of a farm, this makes a completely independent copy and adds that copy to your farm list on the home page. Once you click the Copy button, you receive a notice if the copy was successful. By default, SnapPlus gives a name to copies that includes the word copy and the time and date stamp of when you made that copy. You can edit these as you need to when you review the copy. Let's first open up the copy of this farm. If I want to change the name, I can do that by editing the farm name here. Notice that when I go back to the home page, I now have 2 separate entries for July 22nd farm in my list. These are completely independent of one another. When I make changes to one of them, there will not be any changes made to the other one. There may be some situations where this makes sense to make a copy of a plan that appears as a separate entry in your list. However, keep in mind that these 2 plans are totally independent and no longer connected to one another. Instead of making a copy, in many cases, if you'd like to save a specific version of your farm, a better option is to use our new Archive feature. The Archive feature is available on the farm page in the Archive Versions tab. An archive is a copy of your plan at a specific point in time. It is saved and can be reviewed as needed from the Archive Version tab. When you click the Archive Farm button, you are asked to give the archive a name. A good reason to make an archive might be when you finish your nutrient management plan for a specific crop year and you want to save a version of that plan before you make any other in-progress edits as the season goes on. Once you've given the archive a name, you can click Archive. SnapPlus will take a moment to save your archive because it's running all of the calculations it needs to on all of your fields before saving a version of that data in the archive table. Each unique archive that you make will show up as a separate row in the table. Here, my archive named My 2025 NMP has been added as a row. I can view my archive by clicking on the View button here. This opens up the specific version of the plan that was saved when I clicked the Archive button. I have a reminder that I'm viewing an archive with this orange box in the lower right-hand corner. I can go through and access all of the same pages that are available in my live nutrient management plan, but keep in mind that this is an archive. It's read-only. I'm not able to click and change any of these inputs that I would otherwise be able to change in the working copy of my plan. Once I'm done reviewing my archive, I can go back to Archives by clicking on that button in the lower right-hand corner. You also have the ability to amend an archive. A situation where you might want to amend an archive is if you have submitted this version of the plan to an agency for review, and they get back to you with specific edits or additional questions that you might need to answer based on this version of the nutrient management plan. When you click the Amend button, SnapPlus version 3 makes a copy of this archive and gives it a name that is the amendment. You can change this name back on the archive page. When you're making an amendment, this opens up a version of the plan starting with the version that you're amending. You can make any changes that you need to make here. Once you've finished making the changes in your amendment, you can click Finalize Changes. If you need to come back later, click Finalize Later. If you're finalizing the changes, you receive a reminder here that once you save this amendment, it will be view only. If you need to make additional changes, you'll need to make another amendment. Let's finalize our amendment. Here, you can see that I have another row in my table now. I have my initial 2025 NMP, and I have the version that I've amended. The final column that's available here is Request Review. Request Review is a way to send a specific archive, a specific version of your plan, to a user group for review. A good example of when you might do this is when you are sharing your completed nutrient management plan with your local county office for them to review. You can add user groups by the email address of the group admin, by the name of the group, or by the group ID. If the group is public, you can start searching by typing in the first part of the group name. Confirm that the group name, email, and ID number match. Make sure to communicate with whoever you're sharing with to make sure you have these details correct. When sharing an archive with a review request, you have two options, read-only and read-only no maps. These are the permission level that will be granted to all of the users that are part of this user group. We'll select read-only, and then we'll also have an option to select the review year, which is simply a label that allows this user group to know which version of your NMP you're submitting for a specific year. When you click Send Request, a row will be added to your table as a reminder of which group this review has been shared with. The invitation status is currently pending, but will be updated once the invitation is accepted. When you send a request review to a specific user group, they will receive an invitation under the Invitations section in the upper right-hand corner. Plans that have been shared for review appear as a separate list. They're available as a tab here on the home page called Plans Shared for Review. If you're somebody who reviews plans and maybe edits or writes nutrient management plans, you may have two tabs here with farms available in both lists. Keep in mind that anything listed here in the Plans Shared for Review tab is an archive that has been shared through that Request Review feature. It's a specific version of a nutrient management plan, and we have information about the specific version, which is the archive name, and about the name of the farm itself, which is in the name column. Here on the left-hand side, we can see the review year is populated based on what the user selected. This is intended as an easy way, particularly for county staff, to be able to review specific versions of nutrient management plans shared with their office. The review status column is the column on the right-hand side. This is an indicator column to help counties organize their work as they have different staff members reviewing different plans. When a review status is listed as pending, it means that the county staff member has not yet clicked the Complete Review button. When the review status is listed as complete, that means that the plan has been opened and somebody has clicked that Complete Review button. This is again indicated as a label or an indicator to help organize plan reviews. It is not indicative of a nutrient management plan being accepted or being totally compliant, but is simply one way to help county staff organize their work as they go through and review different aspects of the data. Thanks for watching this video about how to use snapshot, copy, and archive features in SnapPlus version 3.